Welcome back to the Smart Driving Cars podcast. It is good to have you with us once again. Another good podcast. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with the faculty chair of autonomous vehicle engineering at Princeton University and co-author of the new book, The Real Case for Driverless Mobility, Alan Kornhauser. Hi, Alan.
Hey, hi, Fred.
Well, we're going to show folks a bit of an FSD Beta 12 version 12.3 ride that we took. But first, a few headlines. You start out the latest Smart Driving Cars newsletter with an addendum, really, to what you were talking about last week in the Smart Driving Cars newsletter, an editor's note on the new IIHS partial automation safeguard ratings, and you're kind of adding to that here.
That's right, because last week on the IIHS software ratings, we sort of applauded that and said that it could lead to making some really good advanced driver assistance systems, as well as improving automated emergency braking, which we and IIHS and everybody has been saying. My goodness, the auto industry, I think in 2018 or 17 or 16 said that by 2021, they would have really good automated emergency braking systems in their vehicles. And where that's important is that, well, maybe we do, maybe we don't. Apparently we don't, because not everybody got a really great rating out of the new IIHS rating system. But more importantly, all of that should start by insisting that we have, as I had written before, that the car have really excellent emergency braking systems augmented with an unintended acceleration override. And I heard about the unintended acceleration override that Tesla and others have put into their cars, and I've just found that to be just, really a valuable thing. That in fact, these systems, should the car get all of a sudden an input of a heavy impression on the gas pedal, or whatever they call it in an electric car, that before they implement the acceleration function, in other words, really put a lot of fuel into the engines to accelerate the gasoline engine, or turn up the gain on a electric motor, that they first check the camera in front to make sure that the road is clear in front. Oh yeah, they're drag racing down Sunset Boulevard. Boom, let her rip. Well, maybe not let her rip, but let her rip.
And maybe checking back as well. And you
Let
mentioned something here too.
me get to that. Let me get to that. We didn't talk about that. We talked only about the unintended automated on it. Wait a minute, though. We had just talked about the unintended acceleration override function that I understand exists in some of these vehicles. That if in fact you do slam on the gas, what the system does is, since there's no longer a linkage between that and the throttle and the choke and and all the other stuff, that's a signal to a computer to do something and and implement that. But before that's implemented, it checks the front camera to make sure that that's really probably what the driver wanted to do, that the road is clear ahead. And in fact, we know what happened on October 2nd with GM Cruise is, unfortunately, when the system decided to, let's move this car out of the way so that the traffic that is being held up behind us is enabled to go forward, and we don't cause more problems. Let's just move the car out of the way a little bit. The thing that failed to do was to make sure that That's what they should do. That there wasn't a body, a person in front. And now I'm sure that every design of anybody who's designed a robotaxi in US, Europe, China, you name it. Now it's, put a camera down there to make sure one doesn't run over something. I'm sure. I would suspect that Waymo, I don't think they've announced. I would suspect they put it. They didn't have one before. They put one down there. And in fact, every time they're stopped, any command that says move forward, well, they check not only the road 200 meters ahead, da da dee da da da, but also right there in front. Great, because then the probability that what happened on October 2nd happens again has been reduced enormously. Because up to that point in time, nobody really thought, oh, let's look right under the front bumper. I guess they didn't think. I mean, not too long ago, a workman was killed less than a mile away from where I live because a woman at her house backed her car up on him and pressed him up against the building. But what this unintended acceleration business is about is, my goodness, here's a signal to the propulsion system of this vehicle. Accelerate like a bat out of whatever forward. Before it does that, it should take a couple nanoseconds to check the camera in front. And if it has radar, LiDAR, and everything else, DAR, make sure that, in fact, the road ahead is at least somewhat clear. And if it isn't, and when that image is inspected, oh my goodness, there's an obstruction ahead. Whoa. What this is telling the system is, my goodness, the driver hit the wrong pedal. Yipes. Implement emergency brake right now. The code to do that would run in a nanosecond. The computing system to do that, give a call to Jensen. He'll sell you one. And all of a sudden, a tremendous mistake that somebody made. I make mistakes every day that in such situations can be life-changing. NHTSA should be out there, as I think we almost wrote, thinking of writing last week. NHTSA should almost insist that such things exist in cars coming off the line right now that don't have a mechanical linkage between the throttle and whatever makes the car go, to put in that computer linkage, in that computer interface. Whoa, before you send the signal to the throttle, check over here. You got a camera. Inspect the image. You don't need to look 200 meters down. Look just maybe the next 20 feet, 200, short distance. Is there something? Is there an obstruction there that could be such that that is what initiated the driver to slam on the gas, meaning to slam on the brake? Probability of that happening and a probability of somebody actually being in that situation is extremely small. But it's not zero. And the whole thing can be mitigated so easily by just putting this little piece of code in there that says, hey, yo, hit the brake. What damage could that be causing? Oh, maybe somebody will rear end me. Compared to hitting the accelerator, I don't know. If I was a safety agency, that'd be a pretty easy call on my, but you know, who am I? Now, the most interesting thing about this is little did we know last week when we wrote this, that my goodness, this same concept, this same thought should apply about if the car's in reverse. My goodness, some of these cars claim they have 360-degree vision. To do what? Take pictures to send to your girlfriend or something? No. The process to see, you know, where the lanes are and whether there are instructions or whether there's a body there that you're going to hit or what. So if the car happened to be in reverse as opposed to in drive, and one hits the accelerator, hard or not hard, one should at least look to see, does that make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, at least, you know, maybe don't hit the brake, depending on, I mean, you can probably assess whether or not it's mission critical or not mission critical, but at least maybe say to the person, whoa, what's going on here? Are you sure? Are you really sure? Are you really, really sure? And, you know, depending on, as I put in there, you know, how libertarian you are or whatever, decide whether or not it's your job as a manufacturer to create a product that, you know, you've given enough warnings. People get to, you know, people have free will, and let them, my customers should be able to do pretty much whatever he or she wants to do, at least after I've had a chance to warn them. And if it's mission critical, wait. What's a little time? And so, you know, that's what this is all about.
And that kind of leads us to the next story, which we're going to handle in a different way than I guess many people are accustomed to seeing right now out there in the publishing world.
Absolutely. I mean, they've taken this, the publishing world has taken this tragedy and made it a clickbait haven.
And we're talking about
to
the death
sell
of Angela
ads
Chao, correct?
with Angela Chao. My goodness, everything's about what's irrelevant here. And what we can do to move forward with something positive, as opposed to selling ads for who knows what they're trying to sell ads for. I mean, it's a disgrace the way they're dealing with this. I mean, a mistake was likely made. That's someone put a vehicle in reverse as opposed to drive. I've done that with my Mercedes in my driveway. And then realize, oh my goodness, it's in drive. But, you know, I sensed the movement and I recovered and I hit the brake. In this situation, for some reason, or who cares what the reason is, the person didn't recover. But that's not the situation here. The situation here, the vehicle should not have moved. When you go in the reverse, you have a camera that's facing backwards. Before that is implemented by the propulsion system, it's not a mechanical linkage that you have to go in there with Rube Goldberg, who knows what. you know, who knows, 10 lines of code. Check the image of the rear camera. Is that really the direction the person wanted to go? If it's yes, well, sure, let it rip. 99 point whatever 9% of the times it's going to be let it rip. But the whatever 0.001 probabilities, don't. Now, what situation should you don't? And what you should do to help the driver? These automation functions, automated emergency braking control, advanced driver assistance, are supposed to help the driver. Drivers, as we know, aren't perfect. You know, how many times have I said, 90% of the crashes and on the roadways are due to human misbehavior. Not just, oh my goodness, mistakes, misbehavior. The mistakes are made too. I make them all the time. Help me here. My goodness. Whatever the situation was, I'm not even sure what it was, but my goodness, it wouldn't have taken very much, NVIDIA computer power to be able to determine, don't do that. Don't implement that throttle function in reverse gear. Play some sort of, who knows what, chat GPT, oh my goodness, are you really sure you want to do that? Are you really sure? Are you really sure? Or something like that. Give the person an opportunity to correct his or her mistake. And if it's really mission critical, as it is in the unintended acceleration situation, where my goodness, somebody pops up in front of me, whatever, I'm like, and I hit the gas instead of the brake. I mean, they're right next to each other. It's obvious. It's obvious. No, don't hit the gas. In that situation, it probably, I don't know the details, and maybe this one couldn't have been saved, but there must be an enormous number of times I've put my car in the wrong gear. Gear shifts, oh my goodness. They used to be on the floor. They used to be on the column. Where in the heck was reverse on? Yeah, good thing I had a little diagram. Otherwise, I would have never known where to put reverse. And then one car it's over here, another car it's over here, and then there were push buttons here and there, and there were stalks here and stalks there. And where's the turn signal? Where's the headlight? I think luckily Mercedes has it that if you're in drive and the car is moving, it won't go into park. I don't know how many times I mistook the gear changer with the turn signal or the lights or something. In this situation, my goodness, it may have been that someone got confused. But my goodness, it's so easy to fix. Whatever the auto industry has put into automated, to unintended acceleration, do the same thing for unintended. Driver reverse.
Well, we've seen for years the images in some TV commercials about a vehicle stopping itself instead of running over a child or a tricycle or something else coming down the street. They will stop. Many of them.
Yeah, but we also saw the IIHS videos of their tests of those things at 12 miles an hour, where boom, it didn't work at all. Okay, and absolutely those things. Hey, it's 2024. Are you kidding me? That's not working yet. What are you doing? And don't give me a warning. Certainly not in the unintended acceleration. And it's this thing in the unintended, direction of travel. And that's what they should be talking about in these articles. They should be talking about, okay, this tragic incident happened. How do we reduce the probability of this happening again? We probably, nothing has zero probability. Okay, so, well, I don't know. They'll say taxes and not pay. I don't know what they say, but no, you only approach it in a limit, unless you don't. Even that, we won't discuss that guy. But come on, and the way that these, and I think the Forbes one was the worst. And I think, I'm just, Forbes is out there just trying to get clickbait. And I guess what irritated me the most is that, what was the top clickbait on the Forbes one? It was, something about Tucker. Boom. I'm Fred, I am never going to put another article from Forbes in smart driving cars.
End of story there.
End of story. I mean, I'm done. I'm not going to help them.
Moving on, Alan, as we mentioned, with FSD Beta V12 finally out, we had a chance to take a ride, Model Y with 12.3. And Alan, before we roll a little video, your impressions.
Well, I think I write about it in the newsletter. I mean, I have all kinds of different impressions, as you might suspect. I've ridden in autopilot before, and with Tesla, I'd not ridden in any FSD versions. I tried, but they wouldn't let me test drive a Tesla with FSD. I think for good reason, because it is a serious undertaking. But since you got FSD in your car and I needed a ride, I begged my way for a ride with you, and you just happened to have it. Oh my goodness, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I got a ride, begging for a ride, with a vehicle that had FSD version 12, which is, I guess, the only version that I've been wanting to ride in. Why? Because it's the so-called end-to-end, and the one that maybe is beginning to work at least a little bit. But certainly, as I end my comments, it is not working enough to be supposedly what FSD used to stand for. But we just call it FSD. I think I give it another name.
I've called it future self-driving, but
we might get there. But I have to make some silly comments. But
well, let's take a look here. This is from your office in Princeton to where did we go? We went to the car dealer to pick up your car.
You just rested.
Right.
I mean, look at us looking around. We're making sure what's going on. Is it really safe to go? And then Fred, what are you doing? Your hand is just sitting there, right?
Hand's just sitting there, putting pressure on the wheel.
And I'm there, and I'm there. I'm shaking, as you can see. I'm there. Ooh, man, we went by those cars on the right. We didn't even sideswipe anybody. I mean, my goodness, whoa. And I guess you jumped. This is not right outside my office. I mean, right. you jumped ahead.
We're condensing this to about a 3-minute video for.
There's a
here we go. Here we go.
Oh,
we're coming up to that to a single lane bridge.
Oh, this thing. Okay. Do you play the whole thing?
Yes, where you said
goodness.
Let's stop and then let's listen for a second.
turn it around here. Intervene here. Turn around.
Turn around.
I'm saying turn around, intervene here. I'm looking ahead and I'm saying
So
this thing
I
is not
disengaged
going
the
to
full
do it.
self-driving, and then listen to
We're
this.
Yeah, and we're gonna die. And so I got Fred to this
Then you
was
said,
our
"Let's
first
go ahead." You changed
disengagement.
your mind.
Yeah, this was our first disengagement. I made him do it because I was scared. And then I said, well, all right, let's see what it does.
I was indecisive about whether to turn around at this bridge. That's all. That was me letting Tesla know, because it comes up on the screen asking why it was disengaged. It asks you why, and you can explain if you choose to. And
Okay, and you were tapping to have access to the
here we go on the bridge.
This is a one-lane bridge. It serves two directions. And this thing sort of knows what the heck to do. There's a stop sign here, and there are cars wanting to come at it from every direction. And it says, oh, okay, well, I guess it's my turn because they can't go anywhere.
No, that is.
And it does it.
See what it would do.
No, it did it. You didn't do anything, right?
No,
that was perfect. The heck with the horn on the back. I know you're listening, Elon.
Oh my goodness, I went nuts there. I mean, it actually worked. It did that. I don't think I could have done that as well.
Now we're coming close to the dealership, the parking lot. We jumped ahead.
Okay.
It's not going to make it through the parking lot. It does. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I can't drive in this parking lot.
I can't drive. I had trouble driving that when I drove it, brought the car here. Wow. Let's see what it does here. Is it really going to find it? Is it really going to?
I was surprised it even knew about the parking lot.
Me, I don't believe you. I just don't want to believe you. You got to make this left right here. Are you really going to do it? Really, 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 really?
There are no lane markings, no nothing. Whoa, and it would have made it. Fred.
I think it would have.
I think it had missed it.
It was certainly an experience, and I've ridden in Waymo, and I've ridden in GM Cruise, and I rode in Prospect 11 on I-5 in 2005.
Well, with Waymo and Cruise, you're talking about an ODD, operational design domain. Here, it's everywhere. I mean,
well,
they're telling you there aren't any roads that they're telling you typically, I don't think, that you cannot turn this on. Because we turned it on at a dead end in your parking lot by your office, and it navigated.
Yeah, it navigated from there. It's not that tough of a route. It's 2-lane road, no shoulders.
As you said here, in
45 miles an hour.
You said in the newsletter, it's close, but no cigar yet. You must continue to be most vigilant.
Oh, absolutely. People, folks, look, I was holding on tight. I had my seatbelt on. I was sweating. I was making sure I was whatever, this is serious stuff. And Fred had his hand on the wheel absolutely the whole time, his feet next to the brake, ready to hit the brake. And that's the way things should be done in testing. In no way should one test and not pay attention. No way. I mean, come on. Other people's lives are at risk here, so it's not even worth discussing at any point. This is very much still in a testing phase, but it has to be tested out on the road. I think all cars are tested on a road eventually before they're sold to a customer. And, I'm having beta testers be customers. I did that with my company. I found that, just asking customers, say, look, if you give us some feedback, if you take a look at the new version and help us out. Be extremely careful in doing it, but we appreciate your help. It's amazing how customers want to help producers of good products.
And Tesla is asking for constant feedback on any disengagement.
Yeah, and I think to me, I think that's the correct way to do it. The amount that they're learning about what happens is just phenomenal. And it's great that their customers are willing to do it. Otherwise,
Not
you have
just
to
willing
pay
to do it. I
somebody.
mean, there's controversy among many people that, okay, customers are buying this or paying per month for the capability, and they're beta testers, but they're paying for that privilege. And there is
No.
controversy among some people about that.
Yeah, but I look at it, of course, differently. I look at it as by your contribution, we're able to make this product better at a much more inexpensive price. When we were doing Copilot and testing and trying to make Copilot work, this is how we justified asking people, hey, go out there and use it in places where the network is not good. Tell us where it doesn't work. Help us out. And we were able to create maps of the US at, 100th the cost of what it was taken Rush Shields to do it. And we were able to put a product out there, for, I don't know, $35 or something like that eventually. And we didn't make a whole hell of a lot of money off of it. We kept our nose above water. Investors weren't supporting us. But that's the way you can do it affordably. And so what the beta tester does is it helps the entity create and make available a product at, what do you pay, Fred? $200 a month?
Yes.
If they had to pay people to go out there and do that up to this point in time, no way they could offer it to you for $200 a month. Oh, but Elon has so much money. He should get out of here. Each of these things really need to support themselves on their own bottom. And if you don't want to help, don't help. But I think what I saw in terms of people helping with Copilot is, I had one pastor in Delaware, and he went out there and drove whole neighborhoods for us so that we could have the GPS track, so that we could then create the network so that of his neighborhood, so that it would work in his neighborhood. And we did that for him and everybody else. If we would have had to pay somebody to go do that, we couldn't have afforded to do it. Where do people think, the money comes from to do these things? Oh, I guess it comes from Forbes selling who knows what kind of clickbait out there, garbage. Excuse me. Okay.
Moving on now.
NVIDIA. Why do I always have a different view than everybody else? I'm sorry, Fred.
we have a company that will definitely bring a smile to your face. NVIDIA has announced AI-powered healthcare agents that outperform nurses and cost $9 an hour. And they're doing this with a company called Hippocratic AI. And if you read the article, your imagination will take off as to what this is going to do for telemedicine, what this is going to do for healthcare shortages in many, many places.
I mean, I'll just say what I've been saying to my students. I am personally so darn impressed with NVIDIA. In one day, their market cap grew more than anybody else, any other company's market cap in the world ever. what was it, 232, 262, 200 plus billion in one day. And it wasn't with smoke, mirrors, pop-up ads, clickbait, whatever. That response by the market was based on past revenue, not hype. Customers looking at their product saying, oh my goodness, this is valuable to me. It can help me deliver value to end customers. I need this. I want to buy it. The value proposition here for me is that. So therefore, what am I going to do? I'm going to go and do this. Not because I've been do or what because I can look at this and it can take what I want to do in delivering value to someone who needs a nurse and needs the help of a nurse and the knowledge of a nurse and all that stuff, and do it equivalently for what they say, $9 an hour. Right. What are we trying to do with rides, with automated autonomous vehicles? Not show you how big my LiDAR is. Driverless. We want to give you a ride. And what? We want to give you a really good ride, such that it's the ride I want, not the ride you somehow, for who knows what reason, want to give me or give somebody. And two, have it be affordable. There are a lot of folks that need a quality ride. It's not an amusement ride. It's not a, how big is my LiDAR? They hate me. And that's what this is so good. And guess what NVIDIA is doing? They're putting together the compute power that all of us, unfortunately, because we're using a brute force approach to do all this, and we haven't found the elegant approach, and at some point somebody will, but we haven't found it yet. I keep telling my students, I hope it's one of you, because I want 10% of that sucker.
Well, their customers are everywhere, including Tesla and companies in China.
Well,
everybody wants their technology.
If you look at, if you're really gonna, if you're gonna do anything that even approaches AI, the way we're approaching AI today, which is again a very brute force approach on the sucker, you need such enormous compute power. And these folks have figured out a way to do it. One, to do it. And to do it, it seems like, pretty effectively and efficiently, and at a price point that the ROI on this stuff has everybody saying,
well, you were at their conference this past week. You and Elizabeth were there, and you saw firsthand some of the announcements, and just amazing. Lenovo Vehicle Computing and WeRide made an announcement there when they formed a strategic partnership. They're saying to create level 4 autonomous driving solutions for commercial applications being built and trained on the NVIDIA Drive platform. And we need to say, too, that we're going to be doing much more on this in a special edition of the podcast with NVIDIA's Danny Shapiro, a good friend of ours, a former student of yours, this coming week.
Yeah, we are. And, I think it needs to be pointed out, some of these folks, it's yet to do. And it's a to do. And as we pointed out with FSD, there's still a to do on it. And, and I think to applaud Waymo a little bit, it seemed like, they really are, they are doing. They are doing. That is a whole heck of a lot different than to do. So hats off to them. And also Aurora was out there with their I guess they're close. I don't know. I haven't ridden in it. I haven't looked closely enough. Hopefully they'll come to and participate in the summit and let us know more. But yes, they were there, and the interesting thing of all this is that we are collecting the data that gives us the information that we need for operational design domains for which it looks like we should be able to get this to work well enough such that we can begin to deliver the value associated with giving high quality rides to people at a very affordable level so that they can improve their quality of life. And to me, that's why all the investment ends up being something positive. And there are, as we've looked and as we've stated, there are a significant number of people whose lives could be substantially improved if they could get to the places they want to go to at the times they want to go to for a price that they can accept, such that there's some value left to them associated with going to where they want to go. I mean, that's what all this is.
You could write a book about this. Oh, wait a minute. You did.
I mean, we did. We want people, and we're going to talk about it at the summit and so on. It seems so fundamental. These are not amusement rides. They could be amusement rides. Be easy to make them amusement rides. But amusement rides are, I mean, do you really want an amusement ride 3 times a day? No, you're trying to get to someplace, or 4 times a day, or however many, whatever. And so we're back at the fundamentals of this thing. And sure, we can make them comfortable, and sure, we can do a lot of other things, and sure, But the most important thing is to be able to, fundamentally provide a service here. And provide a service so that we don't go bankrupt. We don't beg from the public sector. We do it.
Well, as you've said, Alan, one or more companies has proven the technology. You have the proof of technology. What's needed is the proof of market, and that's what you talk about in the book. That's the point.
That's the point. And both of those companies could do the proof of market. I'm concerned that they're barking up the wrong tree.
Well, you have a comment or two. Waymo, obviously one of those companies. I mean, they have launched service in Los Angeles from Santa Monica to downtown. And I think your comment is you'd like them to maybe focus on some other neighborhoods where rides are more needed.
Well, where what they do might have more long-term appreciation. Not that people not that everybody in Santa Monica and so on, and Brentwood and Beverly Hills and so on have Lambos, But there are other places in Los Angeles where, the same effort by Waymo would sum up over the population that would take would find them valuable and provide a lot more value and improvement to that. You've, not that you're not good, Waymo, not that you're not good, GM Cruise. You are good. You're really good. You've actually done it. You haven't just, you've walked the walk. You haven't just talked the talk. But I think that the market that you're doing this for, it's hard for me to fathom how you got yourself to do it there, as opposed to looking at other places. I don't know LA, or, I guess the only part of LA I do know is where Elizabeth's from, and I don't know where that is, what that is, that very well either. But there must be other places in LA where people need rides. And if there aren't, then go find some places that there are. As we pointed out, people need rides in Trenton. Bryce and I just did a whole series of designs in Brownsville, Texas. My goodness, what a system could do there. Break-even cost per ride, under $3 a ride, for basically, as we like to say, elevator-like service, on demand, beam, boom, bum, put a little shoe leather, to a kiosk. But I don't know.
Maybe there'll be some more entries here, electric reports, and I think your comments may be somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but VW is ready to bring autonomous driving to large-scale production, this using Mobileye. You had an immediate invitation in the newsletter.
It's not tongue-in-cheek. If they can do it, really, I want 1,000 right now. If you can make these things such that they don't need an attendant or driver in one of the operational design domains that we've studied, right now, call me. I'll sign on a dotted line. I can afford them. I'll buy them. 1,000 of them. Yeah, I mean, we got to get started, darn it. There's work to be done. None of these systems are going to, nobody's going to trust them until they're shown. It's going to be Missouri everywhere. Show me. So you have to have an attendant on there. But not the attendant on there is not to make the technology work. That's the if the technology works. The purpose of the attendant is to acclimate the customer. When I was in your car yesterday, I was holding on tight. I didn't trust you. That thing gets a little bit better. I'm going to trust you. And it gets even better, hey, as to what VW and Mobileye are indicating in that thing. That in fact, Fred, get out. I don't need you. Car will take me.
There we go. May Mobility, Alan, has been listed on Fast Company's 2024 list of the most innovative companies in the automotive category. They've been to previous conferences and doing interesting work there, but they're going for a little bit different market than I think you aim at sometimes.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. I'm glad, keep working at it. Again, in terms of what they're trying to do, which is trying to provide, driverless mobility. As far as I know, there are only 2 entities that have done it. And in my opinion, they've done it very well. They haven't been appreciated. It hasn't been perfect. I don't know. Folks, go on Google, ask, how many people die in elevators every year? They'll give you a number. It's not zero. Certainly it's safe enough that people say, hey, I'm not taking the steps. There's not even a thought of that I would take the steps because the elevator is unsafe. Why do I take the elevator? Level of service it gives me is like 24/7. It's available. I get in. It takes me. I forget about it. Now, it's really nice that the cost is free. But even if you charge me something, I pay for it. And it's so good. And it has so many customers. And it's so appreciated by customers that the folks you're going to visit, wherever you're going, in that elevator, gladly pay for that service. Oh my goodness, the long-term opportunities with this is that the places you go to, instead of paying for a parking lot, we put the money in and say, we'll underwrite the operating costs and provide the operator with a reasonable profit so that they can stay in business. That is not fantasy land. That's the opportunity here. The opportunity to provide extremely good level of service at a very affordable price and not be begging for government money and be paying your share of taxes and be returning and serving your fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders. I thought that was the American way. I thought that that's why my parents emigrated here on a boat. And we went through Ellis Island. Seems straightforward to me. Whatever.
Alan, you have some comments about the new rule announced by the Biden administration designed to ensure the majority of new passenger cars and light trucks sold in the U.S. are all electric or hybrids by 2032. They came out with this, but of course there will be various legal challenges, state challenges, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I guess whatever. I think we look, becoming more energy efficient and using energy better to move people, nobody's against that. Okay. But I do want to suggest that everybody, also take a look at these Lawrence Livermore energy flow charts. I mean, they tell us if we're really concerned about utilization and efficiency of energy and so on, and how it relates to the climate thing, we have some work ahead of us. And whether or not we're doing the work in exactly the right places and so on, I think we can still discuss that. But if one does this, great. I just hope it, I hope the auto industry is able to respond, and I hope that customers who go and reach into their own pockets to pay for these things, are enthusiastic and reach way down in their pockets and pay for these and get the personal value out of it, and it's win-win, happy days. But there's a little pushback now, but we'll see. And one of the things I still can't, nobody wants, I never understood what happened to the Chevy Volt, and why that concept has never didn't flourish. Maybe somebody can write to me and explain it to me as to why. That's just seems to me that if you have an internal combustion engine working at peak efficiency and doing nothing but charging batteries, and then running the car off of the batteries, which is basically the way locomotives run on railroads, except for the few places that are electrified. And probably, I don't know, if you really ran the numbers on those things, energy wise and maybe pollution wise and environmentally wise, it still is a better thing to have diesel electrics than catenary electrics. You know, the amount of loss that exists in the transmission of electricity from the point at which it's harnessed or created to the point in which it's consumed is non-trivial. Just look at the Lawrence Livermore charts. And sure, if we have some magic way of harnessing electricity, and even more if we have a mobile platform to harness electricity, such that you can basically generate it as you go on the go. Wow. Then you don't have the transmission losses. But the losses here, and where do the losses go? Heat. So, where potentially more heat is generated, if you look at the gray bands associated with the energy flow chart for 2022 for the US of A. I don't have it in front of me. You can look it up. Lawrence Livermore energy flow chart, USA 2022. I suspect that the heat, the loss, it's all in form of heat, associated with electric generation and distribution is greater than what's consumed in the movement sector, in transportation. So in fact, transportation is said to be, the biggest source of environmental challenge. I don't know. Again, that's not my expertise. I just look at one chart and try to interpret that chart. Other people spend their lives looking at this, but my goodness, the losses incurred in creating electricity are non-trivial. Not only creating and using, because the losses occur in both ends. Loss occurs in the creation of the electricity. Loss occurs in the use through transmission, and then, the efficiency of the electric motor in terms of creating momentum, mass times velocity versus heat. And anyway, but that's not my, I just asking people to take a look. I'm not suggesting that there are some challenges there.
There are. Well, Alan, the sixth Smart Driving Car Summit coming up, getting close. Princeton at the end of May, and it's really shaping up to be a great conference once again.
It is. It certainly is. Certainly, you know, if you saw my planning document, there are a lot of very good people. Now, whether or not they're all going to decide to or can come to Princeton, or you know, care to come, I mean, my goodness, you know, probably say the heck with these guys. But I think you know, as I nail them down, then we'll make them public and hopefully get folks to want to come. I you know, this isn't you know, the big sales pitch, but we do have we have limits on size, and it's not going to be on Zoom. We're not streaming it. We want to have discussion here. We want to have people weighing in. We want participation from all. We want good questions from the audience. We want good discussions, and maybe good comments from the audience too. So it really is it's a family type affair. It's for discussion. It is also for, you know, putting down some, hey, if we know this, if this is nailed down, if this is, yeah, sure, of course, we're all about that. But my goodness, we have some ways to go here, because again, I mean, we may not even be at the starting line yet. Okay, we've had a little bit of a start in Phoenix. We've had, you know, I don't know what we want to call it in San Francisco, a learning experience. Otherwise, you know, that's it. And really doing this in the driverless world, we have a lot of improvements in advanced driver assistance. And we suggest, my goodness, you could do so much more just sitting there. And in fact, what NHTSA should do is, I mean, make them do it. But it shouldn't require NHTSA to make them do it. I mean, for Tesla to implement the business of, you know, my goodness, just check around, you know, to make sure the person really did mean to go this way instead of that way. Trivial for them. How trivial was it for them to update your FSD, Fred?
Just does it. That's it. Tells you it's available on your app. It tells you it's available, or on the screen in the vehicle, and then you just tap OK.
Yeah.
And then it tells you.
Did you get a bill?
No, but the updates for various improvements in the vehicle come on a regular basis. Musk this past week said there are going to be updates every couple of weeks or so, and we'll see if that happens. But typically, it's been every month or so anyway. So,
you know, I've had Mercedes Distronic, you know, lane keeping and intelligent cruise control since the first model, I think, that it was offered on in 2014. I've only had 2 models since then, 2014, 2018. From 2014 to 2018, the system that I got in 2014 was never updated. I can't imagine that Daimler didn't make any improvements or find any whatever glitches. Then when I got to 2018, which I don't buy new cars, I buy cars 3 years old for the obvious reason, because I'm a cheap guy. Okay, I've had that thing from 2018, from 2021, I guess, to 24. So that's 3 years. So I guess I did buy the new one, 2014 to 2021. Never was a software update. The car was even stolen. Got it back. Found it in New Orleans, about to be packed into into a shipping box. I had to go down New Orleans, fetch my car. But of course, whoever stole the car, of course, first thing they do is deactivate all the electronics on the darn thing, so it can't be traced and so on. I thought Daimler would have a back door where they could find it. No, well, of course, even if they did have a back door, guys who steal these things know that turn that sucker off. But they did use my Easy Pass, so I knew they went through. I got 2 Easy Pass charges from those. Damn it, that was way too late to find that. They got that sucker down to New Orleans before you know. But when they reflashed the software in the car, yeah, I didn't get an update then. You know, but whatever the version was that was in 2014, I guess. So when I got to 2018, then I got, I guess, updated 2018. I bought that in 21 on the 21 car. And I just paid, what, $2,000 to have it serviced. And did they offer me an upgrade to my, you know, lane keeping and all, and intelligent cruise control? They didn't offer. I don't think it exists. I mean, it might exist. I haven't searched for it. But think that if they had it, I mean, they could upsell that to me. Everybody loves upsell. It's such a different business model. It is such a different business model that you experience with your car, Fred, than what I experienced with my car. Now, somebody would say, why don't you get a Tesla? I want a Cybertruck, whatever, or whatever. But, you know, it's amazing, but that's where we are. And congratulations, Fred, again, the FSD. It responded better to traffic light stop signs and so on than I respond. Well, but I'm a terrible driver. As you noticed when you followed me home, Fred, from that.
We got there. We got there.
But we got there. We made it.
And we want to remind everybody again about the book, Alan, the Real Case for Driverless Mobility. It is out now, widely available. We are working hard on getting the audiobook ready. That'll be coming soon. But the book,
no, there's no we in that. You are. I've done nothing. Thank you, Fred.
Well, the book itself, this has certainly given me an opportunity to read it carefully, slowly, and I've gotten through it, and it's terrific. A lot of information there, and
Fred had to say that, folks. You know, because no, thank you.
Regular listeners to the podcast will have heard a lot of these arguments for years now from you, and here it is put in book form in a way that really makes it very, very clear. So you can find it on Amazon and elsewhere. The Real Case for Driverless Mobility. And of course, you can find us at smartdrivingcar.com, wherever you turn to for podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Apple, Google, Amazon, wherever. You can find my tech reports at techstination.com. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with Alan Kornhauser. Thank you for spending part of your weekend with us, or if you're listening during the week, thanks for listening or watching. Please continue to stay safe.
Yes, and watch the Princeton women's basketball game tonight. And let's see if we can beat West Virginia.
Go Tigers.